They may have, the library may have taken it out for some reason. We can run over to the help desk and see.
Yeah, go check, see if someone's got it.
So you need a VGA cable?
Yeah.
VGA to VGA or?
VGA to that,
Okay.
yeah, that's got VGA too. I could do this using Chrome Share. It just lags, it just gets shaky.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I just saw her, she's working.
Take me from walking.
Into this.
Somebody's going to go check to see if there was.
Okay, if that doesn't work,
Raspberry Pi stuff.
I don't know what to.
I can do the sharing, because I got a PowerPoint, and then,
Switch over.
yeah, or somebody else who has HDMI could just, because I got the video on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
It's on YouTube, so it'll play.
This is setting up a router.
It's just that this
with
thing,
Raspberry
this has
Pi
a,
and Raspberry Pi in
it
it.
has
right.
a
That's easily done.
HP port.
This
You know, there's a
website
different
has
adapter
a lot
for it.
more stuff on it than just Raspberry Pi.
This is what I use.
Oh yeah, it's like
HDMI.
that's an eSAT or
Yeah,
something.
display port.
Been there.
No, there's an HDMI cord, but there used to be a VGA cord in here. Okay.
Okay, excellent.
So anyway, well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead and type it in there and you see all the junk he's got on there.
Well, I'm just going to take a picture of it, but,
Oh.
okay, all right.
Because
You're gonna
this
make,
is compact, there's a lot more stuff on it. I just kind of squeezed some stuff in there.
You can see how things run when Jim's not around. We're just doing stuff.
hey, man,
Yeah, we don't have a
whatever
gavel
happens.
going.
Did I disconnect you? I
No.
saw this thing fall.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I'm just slow. All right,
How's your computer running?
JACOB,
Run, computer, run.
Jacob,
Nala.
sounds like a bacterial infection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. Ba-bum.
I think
I
most-
think
I'm
he
gonna
has a
start
lot of junk on it.
putting stuff up on
Scroll
the
down,
YouTube channel.
he's got more.
It helps organize it a lot better.
Yeah.
You say, I'm gonna go from
Here's
here
the
to here,
Raspberry Pi stuff.
and if you do it live, I know I dance around a lot.
There he is.
Okay.
That.
Yay.
Rescue.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That's fantastic.
Do I need this audio cable?
You probably don't need the audio unless you want us to hear something.
Yeah, it's
And he says on here that
comes
you
from
go to
YouTube.
GitHub and get the latest version.
We could hear it off the speakers on,
Oh, that's
on
true.
your
This stuff
laptop.
already loaded on there to go now to GitHub. That's updated sometimes daily.
We have all capability. Let's do it.
The last time I used the VGA cable, I didn't have enough room to hook the audio cord up to it though.
Okay, let's. What we
Definitely see the advantages of being wireless.
I think at the top of the.
That was one of the reasons why we did this. You know, it only took us like a year to figure out wireless was better.
I think it just took you buying that router.
The rest of the stuff is just, this didn't all come as one page. I was just.
No, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
I understand. Cool, looks very good. Thank you very much. We'll check it out.
So, I was saying about my one that's got 8 on it.
Yep.
The Arduino doesn't have enough power to supply both the 5 volts and the power to turn the pins on and off. So I have to supply an external 5 volts
Okay.
if I go.
So it's not an external 12, it's an external 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, the Arduino is, really second wind if you get more than a half a dozen syncing the
Yeah.
full 25 milliamps.
yeah, it starts to get a little, if I turn on all the relays, it starts to get a little flaky, and every now and then you'll start hearing one of the relays.
Well, if you think it's flaky, put your hand on the processor.
Yeah.
It's not only flaky, it's hot as hell.
Yeah. But you'll hear one of the relays going click, click, like,
Well, yeah, it doesn't have enough current to hold the thing
to hold it open.
so solidly
Or
open
closed,
or
or-
solidly closed,
Yeah.
whichever way you're going.
Is that monitor turned on?
It should be. But it is definitely a problem when I go with the 8,
Yeah,
and
well, that's a lot of current.
yeah, it is. But it's something to be aware of as well if you need more than 4 relays. The Raspberry Pi doesn't supply anywhere near as much power as the Arduino, so you probably would need an external.
Well, yeah, you would. The way I've got it set up there with all 28 of the pins addressing the LEDs, if I turn them all on simultaneously,
It's very dim.
you can visually see the Arduino go.
Was in their kitchen. Yeah, and it's like they're all the tops of their
Of course,
cabinets
it takes a
are
lot of
full
juice anyway. I mean, just
idiot guidebooks.
Yeah.
processor sucks a lot of juice.
She goes, oh,
So
the editor.
it's just one of
She
those.
proofreads.
Those were what I thought you were talking about when you said it.
Humor and as they
Well,
insert
basically,
form
what I was
like
looking for is the ability
So
to
she
buy
says,
the
well, books
individual.
and that.
Some of
Okay,
those
it's not that you
relays.
read all that. But she goes, no, I don't know.
And you can do that.
Yeah.
On eBay. The only thing is you don't
Some
want
of
to
those
do it on
idiot
a tight
guys,
schedule.
each one has
Right.
a different author or something like that. Some
Yeah.
of those guys
Although I
are really
noticed
good
now
and some of them are
Amazon-
horrible.
You may have to restart your
They're
computer.
either too low a level,
Amazon is
off doing
insisting on
something.
some
I
of the
don't
Chinese
understand where they're
producers
going
stock
with them.
US so that they can do fast turnaround.
Yeah. Well, most of the parts that we buy all come from China, and we just wait for them because they're cheaper.
Just wait.
Well, but there's only, if you buy it through Amazon, they actually are stocking in the US.
Some of them do.
Some of them do.
Some do.
Some of the
That's a good business,
Chinese,
actually, if you do
some,
That's a good business if you do volume. You can charge 3 times as much. You know, you just stockpile it a little bit.
some of the Chinese sellers are selling in the U.S. on eBay too.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are. as a matter of fact.
So,
So, does this presentation come with
popcorn.
video or?
There's a YouTube video.
Dim the lights.
Should I close the door so that?
Yeah,
Interrupting
probably.
everybody else?
That's probably a decent idea.
It's not all the way up.
Somebody in deep thought out there, otherwise we'll.
I don't know.
No, it's not. It's not. This needs to come all the way up. I don't know why it's taking so long.
Now it looks like the TV is actually off.
It's because somebody's hogging all the bandwidth.
Oh,
man.
PC.
I'm not on that
There we go.
router.
You know, last time it didn't work, the VGA was disconnected behind the TV. It all looks like it's connected.
So they port the VGAs out to the wall outlet there?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
It has a HDMI and
there's even a composite that we could plug into.
Really?
We had VCR or something.
Okay.
Is the TV even on?
It's on.
Yeah, the little green light there is blinking, so it's on.
Oh, it looks like the screen's off.
I know.
Yeah, we had
Okay, it
somebody's
should be-
screensaver up there a minute ago.
I get these false indications. Usually doesn't take this long.
There, I just heard it click.
Yeah, I saw
Something happened.
There you go.
There we go. Now it's ringing.
Oh, I know what the problem is. This is Windows.
Windows, I was gonna say that.
I don't have this problem. It's in the library.
Oh, there we go. By the way, isn't the 29th the last day for the freebies?
Last day.
I believe.
I can imagine if you try to do an upgrade tonight, man. You'd be like running into a brick wall.
I have a Windows 7 machine, but it's like by the time I feel like upgrading, I'm probably gonna swap out some of the components. I'm gonna like screw up the OEM. I don't know. This time I'm just gonna get a retail copy because it's like I only got one machine with Windows, and I keep having to get on 7. I kept having to get more OEMs because I kept on swapping out everything. And like you can call them, and they'll actually sometimes take the OEM copies through Mobo upgrades, but it's really up to their discretion, and they don't really tell you what the threshold is. So I'm like, okay, screw this.
It's like how the particular associate feels then.
Yeah. It's like, you know what, screw this, I'm just going to pay up front for retail.
I almost always called the.
Almost never.
I almost always called the automated thing because the automated thing always would take the OEM copies that I had. Always. It always did it.
Well, as long as you didn't like.
But I hated doing that automated thing.
It's like, you know what, retail, screw it. It's like, my frustration is not worth that price difference.
Sit there and argue with the machine. You know somebody's sitting there listening to it and just laughing because you're arguing with the machine.
This guy is the guy that
How many people
was
have tape
involved in
over their
designing the
camera?
thing in the first place.
Explains everything. I don't have a camera right now.
I don't do it. I know my son does.
So I put tape over the camera?
Takes over the camera.
It's a measure of your level of paranoia.
I mean, on my other laptop, I don't put tape there, but I have a little flap there. But it's not really because I'm concerned with it being on. I'm concerned about me accidentally leaving it on.
Yeah, well, you forget. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it's not really that I expect anyone else to mysteriously turn on my camera. It's more me turning on the camera and I forget it's on.
But it's the kind of thing you forget. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
I actually rarely use the camera that's built into the computer. I mean, it's pretty rare.
But some apps turn it on automatically. So piece of Scotch tape works miracle.
I like tape because then you get that residue that sticks there, and then you gotta rub it off. It's like, no.
If you leave the tape on, you don't have to worry about the residue. If you hold the tape-
Like, at the very least, just have a little piece of paper, a little flap at least. You don't have to like scrape it off with your thumb, and your thumb's all gummy. Then it gets on your phone. And it's like, ah.
Yeah, I see. I use my camera on my phone way more than I use the camera on the
Oh,
computer.
yeah.
Sure.
I think that's probably universally true.
Yeah.
And frankly, my camera on my phone is now 16 megabits. So, I mean, it's better than any point and shoot I ever owned.
Pretty much.
I think mine's 10 on my phone. Might be 12. But it's a great camera. It's a fantastic camera.
I've got an LG G4, and which I bought about 3 days before the G5 came out. And it gives me great.
All right, this is mostly out of habit. I do PowerPoint. I'm not going to talk as much as I usually do because all the talking is actually on the YouTube video. But in the demo, we'll bring up a Visual Studio and create a website from a template. Actually, doing the creation takes about 5 minutes, but then I start doing other stuff. So it's not 10 minutes, it goes about 20 minutes. After it finishes, I'll spend a little time just showing what a real website that was done with IIS and ASP.NET, actually one that my high school camp kids are working on. But I'm going to do 20 minutes of this demo. What's going to happen is it's going to bring up Internet Explorer. And of course, that's probably not going to work well. I'm going to get a green screen, but I can copy the YouTube address. Let's see if it'll play. Oh, green screen. So let's close that and go to Firefox.
Which is Chrome.
I use Firefox. I use it at school also because for the tools that we have, it always works. Internet Explorer, that looks wrong.
Wait, you have something that's browser dependent?
Huh? That looks wrong. So let me go back and get the,
Go Yahoo.
all right, I'm going to do a right click, look at the
Let's
hyperlink,
do that.
edit the hyperlink. This is where the site is. I'll copy this and go back to, and all right, now we go to the movie. Make it full screen. We got no volume.
You sure it's not just shut off on the TV?
Speakers at 33%. No, it should be playing here.
Oh, because it's not plugged in, sorry.
What's not plugged in?
Over here. It's all right, I'll fix it.
Oh, the audio line isn't plugged in.
You'd
Probably
started,
hasn't
you'd started to, you got sidetracked about something, that's all right.
It's fixed. Watch out, TV's loud.
Turn up the volume a little bit.
Looks like it's frozen.
I don't think you gotta click play now.
Oh, okay. See if I'm at the very beginning.
I'm going to show you how to.
That sounds like it's coming out of there.
It is.
Oh.
See Visual Studio 2015 on an IIS Microsoft Web Service, IIS 7.5, and this runs on the Microsoft web server, 2008 web server, and we're going to use a template to do this.
No offense, you look like you need sleep.
That's how I look all the time. I inherited that from my dear old dad.
You have to
Lazy eyes.
planning, some graphics, and some text. I'm not going to try to build a full content site. I'm going to show you how to get the framework done and how to get it done fairly quickly. Okay, we have done the exercise of creating a website. The server is logged on to, and Visual Studio is loaded. Visual Studio takes a while to load, maybe a minute or two. So I'm going to create a new website. First thing I would do is click on File, click on New, and I want to do a new website. I get some choices here about types of websites. This website is going to be ASP.NET C# Windows Form application, so I can click on that. And I'm going to get a chance to actually name this website. And the name for the website will be
You see that that's under iNetPub, which is where you classically put the folder.
You need to up the resolution of it, or you got a mismatch there.
10-minute website.
Go to the gear. Go to the gear.
Okay, settings.
And
Increase
Visual
that.
Studio is creating a blanket website.
It's already.
It's,
What I have here, what you see on the screen, is a template for the website. And it's shown in the source mode. But what I can do is go look at it from a design point of view.
I tell you what we can do is,
And you'll
if
see
somebody else with
that
HDMI
it's already-
can connect and
already
just start playing this thing from
code
scratch.
there and some placeholders for you to add.
Do you have HDMI?
I've got the Chromecast.
In its current form.
Well, that doesn't work. That delay is kind of flaky. I mean, you can try it. But,
Responsive query.
You want to send me the link?
Display
okay.
site on a tablet, phone, or
I don't know if that's an improvement, because the
uh,
thing is, the video looks like it was compressed at a much lower resolution
Yeah.
than the screen.
It looks good there.
Do you have like the?
It just didn't look good in full screen.
in the template. I will show you that.
Well, you can't read anything. That's the thing.
I can read that much better than I can read the
I'll
other.
show you what,
Good. Do you have the? Do you still have like the Windows Movie Maker file?
design
No, that's on. That's actually on another computer.
split.
Actually, this looks very good on my desktop.
Yeah.
You can, there's actually a
And
certain
you can see,
resolution you can compress to that YouTube likes better, I guess.
bottom. So,
I think this is a function of this
make
computer.
changes and either
We could try it if you want to email me the
design section.
I
the
can
URL.
It's a short link, so I can almost tell you what it
For
is.
the logo, just jump and try from Twitter.
Stop this thing.
So you're planning on just planning on embedding it in the video for the session today?
I could do that too.
That would be the simplest thing
That
to
would
do.
probably be the
All right.
easiest thing to do.
Here it is. Can you see that? HTTPS //
Hang on. Let me see how I do this. Camera, toolbar. Got to. Got to figure out.
Hey.
I've got to figure out. I know there's a way to do this.
Do what?
Just embed the link.
I just gotta get it. And I could email it to you, but that means, logging in Gmail and all that kind of stuff. It's only about 10 characters. So if you went to https://utu.be/FRSZJNXIX.
If I could type. FRSZ
That's FRSZJ.
J. Is J capitalized?
It's capitalized. I don't think it makes a difference.
It does.
And the URL wouldn't make a difference.
It shouldn't make a difference. That's JN,
O
no, XIK.
XIK. Crap. And that did not work for some
Read it back. It's youtu.be.
It says the video doesn't exist.
What do you have? HTTPS
Yeah.
/youtu.be
Yeah.
/FRSJ
FRSJ
N
Okay.
XIK. If that doesn't work out, I'll email it to you.
That didn't work either.
It takes me time.
Just search Frank Hill Visual Studio.
Yeah.
I mean, the name of
Actually,
Visual
that
Studio
might
is-
do it too. It's public.
The name of Visual Studio is unique enough. That's the first entry that pops up. I guess there's not that many Frank Hills making Visual Studio tutorials.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how to bring up a website using Visual Studio 2015 on an IIS Microsoft web server. It's IIS 7.5, and this runs on a Microsoft web server, 2008 web server, and we're going to use a template to do this, and my goal is to get this done, the basic site, in less than 10 minutes. Of course, with any website, you have to do a lot of planning, assembling graphics, and assembling text. I'm not going to try to build a full content site. I'm going to show you how to get the framework done and how to get it done fairly quickly. Okay, we have begun the exercise of creating a website. The server is logged onto, and Visual Studio has loaded. Visual Studio takes a little while to load, maybe a minute or two. So if I were going to create a new website, first thing I would do is click on File, then click on New, and I want to do a new website. Now I get some choices here about the types of websites. This website is going to be ASP.NET C# Windows Form application. So I click on that. And I'm going to get a chance to actually name this website. And the name for the website will be 10 10-minute website. So now I'm going to click OK. After that, Windows builds and from the template. Studio is about 2 minutes creating a blanket website for me. Now what I have here, what you see on the screen, is a template for the website. And it's shown in the source mode, but what I can do is go look at it from a design point of view. And you'll see that there's already some code there and some placeholders for me to add content. In its current form, this site will support responsive web. That is, you can display the site on a tablet, a phone, or on a desktop. jQuery and Twitter Bootstrap have been included in the template. I will show you that in a second. Now let me show you what Visual Studio can do for you. We're looking at the site in design form now. I'm going to click on Split and notice that you can see code at the top, and you can see the actual display of how the site will look on the bottom. This is design mode. I can make changes in either the code section or the design section. You'll also notice that it uses a class for the look, which is Jumbotron from Twitter.
That's a base Twitter class.
Now let me show you what the site looks like without adding any content, just what the template looks like. And I can go to, let me stop this for a second. Let me move the cursor to the left. I can go up to File, and I can say View in Browser, Firefox, and now you can see what the application looks like. Visual Studio has a built-in web server, and notice that there are 3 columns that I can add the text. I could choose a different Bootstrap format and organize the text on the screen in a different way. Now let me close this display and get back to Visual Studio. Didn't want to do that. Actually, didn't want to do that either. This is what I wanted to do. And now we're back to Visual Studio. Now that I've shown how to put the template up, I'm going to show how you can add content to this template. First thing I'm going to do is change some of the styles, and then I'm going to just add some text for a potential website. Now I'm going to show you how to make some modifications to the style of the site using Twitter Bootstrap. On the right-hand side of the screen, you see the content files that were generated by Visual Studio to be used with this website. You see some normal pages about .aspx, contact.hps, default.aspx, which is the starting page, and a number of other files. The site master is the global look of the site, and under content, you see Bootstrap. And I said I was going to edit Bootstrap and make some changes. So let me just double click on Bootstrap, and it gets opened up in the text editor. And just to go back, I'm going to tell you what I was going to change. I'm going to change the color of the Jumbotron class, which is this background at the top. I'm also going to change the color of the buttons. There's a button that goes with the
Primary button that I'm trying to see is there.
initial section of the site, learn more, and so I'm going to change the color of these buttons. And to do that, I'm going to go to the Bootstrap file. Now, classically, the way you would do this, because this is a big file and you don't know where things are, is you would search. So I want to search for Jumbotron. And Jumbotron is around 4930. And here's the background. Now I can get a dialog box up with colors. I try to take one out. Take out this E, put it back. And from there I can select colors. So you need to look at a palette like this and select a range. There's another way I could have done that too. And so this is the color I'm going to select. And notice that the color gets filled in here under Jumbotron. And I said I also wanted to change the BTN default button. I know that's further up. And If you get Visual Studio set up right, you can actually get to that stuff directly through IntelliSense. a little bit further up. I just wasn't going to mess with it that long. And let me keep going. Went too far, I didn't go too far. 2051. Notice this is a huge file. And there's background color for BTN default. And so, as I did before, I'm going to delete that F, put it back. And then it's going to allow me to choose a color. Let's try this. Well, I like this one. So click on the green. Notice I get the hex numbers that represents red, green, blue, the exact amount for that color. So I've got that one done. Now I need to find my next one, which was BTN primary, and scroll down a bit. There's BTN primary, and this is the static background color. So I'm going to delete the 7, put it back, and I want to make this gold. So let's scroll over, there's gold. Notice the number change, that's done. So theoretically, I'm ready to go. So let me save the Bootstrap file and go back to the default first file. Let's view it in the browser to see if the changes were made. And there we have it. We have a turquoise for the background I know
You
the
have a
reason.
goal,
I know the reason
for
for
that
the
first
flashing, but I
button,
don't want to do it over.
and that green I chose for the second button. These are not necessarily great colors, so
If you
my
show
intent
that
was just to show
directly from the
that
browser,
it could be done fairly easily and how it's done.
it works. But if you preview it from Visual
Okay, I'm
Studio,
gonna close
it
this,
generates this
and the
flashing.
only other thing I wanna do is
The
to
video.
add additional pages using that same template. Now I want to add 3 additional pages to the website. And these pages are going to be called Products, Cart, Blog, and Join. So I go up to Website, and I say Add New Item. And I want this item, I can pick from a number of different pages, but I want it to be web form. And this first one, I'm going to call it Products. I'm going to not put the code in a separate file. I'm going to select master page, and then I'm going to add it. And site master, which is my standard, I'll use that style. I'll click OK. And there's a page. Now I'm going to go to website, add new item. And again, I want it to be web form. I want it to be called blog. And select the master page, add site master, okay. Now I add the third page, which is called join. So again, to website, add new item, and web form visual, C#, and join. Now, 3 blank pages have been created. I now need to add those to the main menu for the website. Now I have a file called SiteMaster, which has all of the menu and common items for the site. And I need to change that to add these new pages that I created, join, blog, products. And so let's click on Site Master. And you see a lot of HTML code here. I'm not going to talk about that right now. All the references for jQuery and Bootstrap. And let's scroll till we get to the menu. As you can see here, from this navigational class, I already have 3 items on the menu. So to make things go fast, I'm going to just copy those and modify them. So Control C, go to another line, and Control V. And you see I have everything in there twice. So for home / products. And the next one was cart. And then I had blog. And actually I want one more called join. and I need to match the headings, set the headings to match the pages. So this becomes products. This becomes cart. This becomes log. And this becomes join. Let me check it. At home, about, contracts, products, cart, log, and join. So I'm going to save it. So I go up and save all. And I got all these files saved. Now I'm checking again just to make sure. 1, 2, 3. I don't have the cart page, so I need to create that page. So let's go to website again. Add new item. Web form. Cart. And let's click add. And OK. So when I go back and view my first page, I should see the menu for all of these pages. So file, browse with Firefox. This is the page. Notice that it has all the icons. That is the menu items that are added. And of course, these pages don't have anything on them yet, but they can be built out to add content as needed. This video was just designed to give you an idea of how fast you could put up a Visual Studio website. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope it piques your interest in building applications with Visual Studio.
All right, that's done.
Done.
That was actually built in the folder that you could connect to your other websites that actually are connected to the web. To connect it to the web, you have to make some binding changes to the server so it can be recognized. You also have to have a domain name for it. One of those settings would be internal. You need some external settings too. You need to have a place for the domain name to live. I usually use GoDaddy, and then you need DNS. Some of my DNS is with Time Warner. I had to start buying DNS from someplace else because they don't want to be bothered with adding stuff to their DNS server. So all the old stuff that I had is still on Time Warner, and then there's a place called Worldwide DNS where I can buy DNS at $35 for 5 DNS records. If you buy a lot of them, you can get a better rate, but that lasts for a year. And after that, it's live on the web, www.whatever. Okay, Leroy, you still got it up. Once you go to a website, this is going to be a live site that was built with Visual Studio. Actually, one that my camp kids built. www. Okay, I don't have the thing on. bdpa-camp.org. /www.
Say that again?
Huh? www.bdpa. Let me write it down. Right, let me write it down. It's
Baker?
boy, David, Papa, Alpha,
Got it.
hyphen or dash campcamp.org
Slash.
slash
Baker?
BDPA pickup.
Baker, I didn't have,
Baker,
yeah. Baker what?
Baker, David, Papa, Alpha, pickup, PICKUP, slash.
PICK.
If you go, you can read it. All right, there it is. You still can't see it. Okay, now what this is supposed to be, and again, this is the kind of problem.
I know which one this is.
Yeah, that my kids get from at competition. But if you do login, click on login,
Wow.
and the login is
Come log in.
the login is Frank, capital FRANK, capital T, lowercase EST, and then the password is capital F A. That's capital F, lowercase a, L, C, 0N, 423 pound. All right,
Welcome, Frank. Test.
so you want to request a ride. That picture's too big.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to have any tools to do compression or anything. All right, so select the time, sometime later than now for a
Today is the 28th, so let's go somewhere on the 30th.
that. Okay, as long as you make it after that date. Usually, when you're doing Uber, you're not going 12 days from now. You're going, an hour from now. Hopefully, they consider that. I didn't test that.
You want to test it?
Go ahead and test it. Yeah.
All right, we'll go. So
So,
it
for
is.
next week sometime, or what?
No, usually you do. I know it will work for the same day, but I don't know if they.
So
You could do it next week or something.
Yeah, I don't know if they would allow it next week, or they took in consideration that.
or a couple of days from now is what I put.
Okay.
So it says
Right up.
up in the corner, it says 3 p.m., 7:30.
Now you need to select. Okay, you selected the times.
Yep. And up here in the corner, see where it says 3 p.m.?
Yeah, no, you got to do some more stuff. Okay, so did you submit select the driver?
I need to select a driver. Huh?
Yeah. Did you submit that time? All right. Okay, you got the driver. Find the driver.
Oh, let's select Edward here.
All right. So put pickup address, and it doesn't matter. What matters is the zip code.
123 Fake Street.
Yeah. This was limited to an area in New Jersey. That was their limit. And you got to put one of the codes that's on. You just can't.
Oh, I can't make up my own zip
No,
code.
it doesn't cover. It doesn't cover Ohio. It's New Jersey
All right,
or Michigan. Michigan.
that looks like Michigan, yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit, New Jersey.
It's Michigan, looks like. All right, so the guy who wrote the problem, the analyst, he's from Michigan. All
So,
right, so you come up with an address, and it doesn't matter about the address. You can put your address, any address.
we're going to go just down the road to Fake Street.
Okay, so now you want to do the zip code.
We
I'll
want,
just tell you, the fare is calculated based on zip code.
yeah, I sort of figured.
Okay, so you got that. So save selection. All right. Now you can view your summary
View my summary.
and you can finalize your purchase.
Hey, it's only going to cost me $11.
Cheap, good deal.
That actually sounds pretty cheap for a cab.
And what they always do with these problems, you need to have this page because you need to have something to print a receipt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have tested to know they got some holes. Because like sometimes you should be able to go back to the previous page, and I know they didn't. But, you know, for 16-year-olds, what do you expect? But they use .NET for this. They use, for the most part, web forms. That's using a MySQL database. Usually in a competition, they'll give you the database. Sometimes they may have to add a table, or they may have to modify, outside of the program, some data. And they get 7 or 8 hours, it depends, to get it done. Very, very few people get all of the requirements. The idea is to connect to the database, show some data, and have just a fairly decent looking website. And you won't be last, but you get points by how close you come to the final product. But in 8 hours, I always say, I've never done anything like this in 8 hours. And I wouldn't, Generally, people say, there's your little spec, and you sit there and you think about it for a day. Then the next day you go back and ask them questions. I don't understand any of this. and then you start. But it's good. It's a good challenge. You don't tell them it's impossible. And usually their best day is the day of this competition. When we do things like this, usually this site we take 3 or 4 weeks to get it done, because it's like they got all kinds of questions and they get stuck and things like that. But on the last day, you got no time to do.
Well, the adrenaline is running at that point.
Do the best you can. And as I had this one kid who was what I call a good hand waver. He talked a good game, he said if I had just a little bit more time, I could have done this. And I know it's supposed to work like this, but look, I had all this done. Selling to the judge. You need to be able to do a little bit of that too. The other thing about the judges is, judges usually are not real good with code. These are business people usually. And they have an idea of how things should be, but they can't go into the code and look to see when the kids cheated them. Because it happens sometimes. if you know what the response should be, just shoot it back. I ain't doing the calculation. I'm gonna do the demo.
You can put anything in there and it's still going to tell you Frank's coming to get you.
Yes, that's it. And they're always threatening that they're going to have people who can read the code. It just never happens. But this is why I use this mostly, because that's why I use .NET, because this is what they use in the competition. It would be best to use SQL Server for a database using .NET, but they specify MySQL because whether you're using PHP or whether you're using, because some people use PHP, some use Java, and it's also free, it's open source. And the requirement is that all the stuff should be open source because every chapter needs to be able to get access to it, and kids need to be able to do it for free. And so we get this tool set. And I've been doing this probably.
So .NET?
.NET. I've been doing this, 10 years at least. And so I started using .NET just because, I do it with them. And Microsoft tools are good. Contrary to basic beliefs, Microsoft tools are good.
They are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dispute that.
What time is it?
There's about a half hour left.
I can show you some stuff on the server. I can show you some stuff on the server.
We'll flip it back over here.
Yeah, flip it to me.
It's tough though, because
There you go. You're up. You're on screen.
All right, let's get that remote connection again. This server is pretty much dedicated to them. And so they're on all the time, and they can use it whenever they want. They can do whatever they want to do. If they crash it, just crash.
If they crash it, they crash it, huh?
Yeah. And it's kind of like I did with my own sons when I let them do everything. And they messed up a lot of stuff, but they learned a lot of stuff. All right, let me see if I can minimize this.
Do your students use SalCon, or did you put that on there? I saw
What?
you have SalCon, the fourth person down there.
Sal Khan.
The name on your internet. That's okay. That's either. He's a teacher that teaches on the internet.
I don't remember.
Khan
the name.
Academy, that's what it's called.
Oh, Khan Academy. That's an email that I got. I connect with Khan Academy. My wife especially likes it. But now I look at things sometimes. They pretty much don't use it though. It's good. Khan Academy is good though.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, that's you going ding dong.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is ding donging around here?
Bad not having full screen. Okay.
Yes, that's one of the things with using the VGA in here. It changes everybody's resolution.
Yeah. I actually also have I have Apache on this machine. I have Apache. I have Tomcat for Java. All right, let's do start and database. MySQL. This is a tool for MySQL Workbench. So you can build a database, you can edit it. Like a lot of things, it takes a while to load. You notice the name of the machine. You notice the name of the machine, right? Columbia. You should know what the deal is with Columbia. What's Columbia?
Columbia?
Well, it's a shuttle crash for one thing.
It's a Star Trek.
Yeah. I was going to say it's either the shuttle has crashed or it's got something to do with Star
I
Trek.
do Enterprise and Excalibur. Like mine.
Columbia.
Mail
Well,
service.
Enterprise
Excalibur.
is long before it was on Star Trek. It was
It was
a flat top
no, a carrier. Yeah.
carrier.
Yeah.
Flat top carrier. Whatever.
Well, and before it was a carrier, it was a, what was that, a schooner?
Well, the Enterprise carrier was the first nuclear
Yes.
carrier.
There was old wooden ship named Enterprise, though.
Oh yeah, the Enterprise, the first Enterprise goes back to the 17th century.
Yeah, HMS Enterprise or something.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's a long history.
HMS wasn't ours, by the way.
Her Majesty's ship, is that?
That's right.
There's a long history of ships named Enterprise.
You guys use MySQL?
You used to? Occasionally still.
Yeah. And when I install web
Jacob.
software, it's usually what I get. You use something different?
Well, let's
You
see.
think about for
I have a couple legacy things that use
a web
MySQL.
server?
Do I?
You're talking about for a web server?
When I install like the LAMP servers, it's usually installed as a package.
Yeah, it's a package.
Yeah.
This is MySQL 5.7.
Yeah, I've got a couple MySQL servers for work, and the only new ones are Postgres.
Why do you use that?
Postgres mostly because it works better with it, because usually my safe and boring web stacks they tend to be Django stacks, and it works better with them. Well, you can use either, but I tend to find that it's a lot of soft reasons, really. I tend to find that for some reason my MySQL ones, they always seem to have some sort of warm-up issues, where if it's down for a long while, then I try to suddenly access it, it'll throw an error or something. Also, there's some data consistency issues I've had where it's like MySQL will let through things which are weird. Like you can have dates of 0 in MySQL. I'm not entirely sure what that is.
The dates are not compatible with Microsoft. I know that.
Yeah, and my SQL's SQL syntax for like more advanced things tends to be rather inconsistent with a lot of SQL implementations. Whereas like if you go from SQL Server to MySQL, a lot of the commands just are a little off.
And it's different, but you adjust.
Whereas, or I guess like from one SQL implementation to another. Whereas like Postgres has like some of their keywords are different, but like for the most part, their syntax is very, very close to spec.
Does it let you do things like joins?
Yeah, it does joins really well.
My thought is that one of the things they've been doing with MySQL is they've been updating it. So as databases get more sophisticated, this one does too.
One of the things I also like about it is that it also has some functionality for that edge case where like you know how if you have a large web application, you always kind of end up with this case where you have a non-relational data set. Like let's say you have like an optional fields in a form or something, but you want to keep normalization. Like the classic way to solve that is to put JSON into a field, but then searching that's not very efficient. Postgres has a couple solutions. That one is HStore, which is like a key value store which fits into a field that can't actually be queried. And the new one coming up is the latest versions have support for JSON-B, which is kind of an even better version of that. So you can actually have like a variable field store as a field in your relational table.
So how many people, who uses, what's the percentage of Postgres versus MySQL?
I actually don't know.
They're
both really
You're the
popular.
first person I ever heard of that used it.
Postgres SQL or
Yeah, most people, people who have money use Oracle. Oracle's good, you know.
I would say
cheaper
that
you use Microsoft.
It's a bit of an arena thing, so LAMP stacks tend to use MySQL, and in general, I guess smaller web stacks tend to use MySQL. Postgres is a bit interesting because it tends to be popular with two different crowds. One is, oddly enough, people coming from Oracle, because it's very close to the definitive SQL syntax spec. It's very easy for those people to come over. The other place where it's popular is it's probably the more popular relational database for a lot of startups because of its replication capabilities and because of its and because of set functions where it can support like other odd data sets which that might not traditionally fit into traditional relational databases. Also things like adapters, like Postgres has this thing where you can write an adapter which can if you want to, you could actually write an adapter which it can access another database and treat that as a table so that your SQL queries going through there can go through, like you can make drivers like that. So it's free.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'll probably leave it alone though.
Okay, yeah. You asked.
Yeah, the thing that we try to do things quick. For instance, how many minutes does it take you to connect to the database? And they have something in .NET called .NET is actually good for display. That's mostly what it's good for. So you can put a grid out there like an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, and you can connect to a database. And even within .NET, you can do sorting. I mean, you can set it up to sort. You can format it to have different colors and stuff like that. And it's all push and click. So in competition, one of the problems kids have is like connected to the database. If you use try to do a lot of things with the data grid, you connect really quick. So you see, you can build this template like this. There's one of the kids who can build one that looks good in about 5 minutes. And so if you need to first start bringing some data, the next hard thing they have is a password, because you have to write the password. They have password capabilities with Microsoft. Actually, it's elaborate. You don't have time to set that up. So they have to write a password program, and they have all kinds of requirements on it.
Oh, geez, that's painful.
Yeah, but no, that's a good part of what they need to do, and you need to get through that. And then you have data you need to display, and then you need to do logic on this data. That's kind of the next hard thing, particularly when they need to do arithmetic for reports. And that thing that you just saw, they had some pretty tough algorithms in there. So you got to sit down and figure out how do you take these algorithms and encode them, in code. But sort of the basic things you need to do, like display data and to just put a formatted site up, .NET is good for that. It doesn't help you though. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's PHP or Java. As far as writing the logic, you just have to write the logic. But if you can save some time, with all this display stuff, then it helps you competition-wise.
It can.
Yeah.
Like one of the things, one of the things I have noticed is that especially with a lot of the web tooling for .NET is that it will do a lot of things for you, which is really good. I guess as far as fast builds go, I do have a couple beefs with it. One is that it tends to it's not as bad with MVC, but with web forms in particular, it tends to sort of try to abstract away the separation between client side and server side, which most of the time that's okay, but it sort of has that, I don't know, it's kind of vague. I almost like to call it sort of this sync where it's and this I seem to notice this with a lot of Microsoft tooling where it's as long as you're doing okay, you're doing okay. But there seems to be this thing that ends up happening where it's if something goes wrong, then what ends up happening is that you start asking a lot of questions that are related to. What ends up happening is you start asking a lot of questions related to Visual Studio and not actual web development.
That's true.
Where it's how do I get Visual Studio to do this, and how do I get Visual Studio to do this?
What I will say about this tool, it takes a while to
really,
adjust to it.
Yeah, and it becomes really hard to dig
when
someone
you're doing
out of
things that
that.
were closer to HTML, you didn't have as much of these quirky things. You also have quirky things when you're trying to make .NET and MySQL work, because it's not made to work with MySQL. It's made to work with SQL Server. And so you have these quirky things, and you have to work through it. And for the kids, you just have to hope that doesn't happen to you in the competition.
As long as you can get an ND adapter for it, but
no, the thing is that Sun owns MySQL. MySQL was better off when it was just straight open source. Sun doesn't have a lot of energy in supporting these changes that Microsoft makes, and Microsoft makes a lot of them. So you can go through some versions of Visual Studio where just certain stuff won't work, and so you just get by it until you get to the next version. During that 2012 period, there's a lot of stuff that was messed up.
Yeah, it's painful. I didn't do you guys do is the database already built and you have to use it, or is building the database sometimes part of?
It's not anymore. I don't have enough time. One of the compromises was going to give you a database. They could build a database, but it just takes time. And you got 8 hours. And then you run into a lot of problems when you're creating the database. So you end up troubleshooting them. So most of the time they give them most of the database. They may say, oh, you're going to need this table for something. So they have to build a table. They have to go in and manipulate the database, but they're not going to build a structure of it. Now in practice, you do everything.
Yeah.
But even then, most of the time I'll build it for them.
I'm kind of not sure what the better option is there actually. Because like, I guess on one hand, it's like if you're building a database for, I don't know, are we going way off topic?
No, it's related. I mean, what's your point?
Because I kind of feel like if you're doing a learning competition, I guess there's a couple things. I guess there's a couple competing concerns there. One is that like building a database quickly, and because database design is an important element of that, and so though speed building is well, here's the thing. Like most of the time, if you're starting up a web application that's just sort of a standalone thing that doesn't have an existing database, these days you're probably not going to touch an eSQL directly. Like what you're going to do is you're going to have some sort of like ORM or some system that where you build out your models and then it auto builds the database for you. And what ends up happening is that you also want to do that because you want to do migrations.
But you know, when you have a competition, you just prototype. You know?
Yeah.
Don't have
Which I would almost be tempted just to do that, just because it's a fairly fast build process and it keeps you in the code. On the other hand, it's sort of like I still think learning SQL is important. So it's like
no, you actually have to learn SQL. You don't have to write the SQL for your application. But if you had to build a database and you also had to do your SQL and you also had to do your code, you just run out of time. The way they hold these things, some of these competitions, they will tell a team ahead of time, this is your problem. You have 3 months to get this thing. Come to the competition and demonstrate it. You come to the competition blind. You know it's going to involve a database. You know you're going to have to build a website, but you don't know what it is. And if they tell you you're going to have to build an Uber app, but most of the time, the thing that really kills kids is these financial apps. They will want to build some loan application or something like that. And these kids haven't gotten far enough that they know how to do the math to actually implement them. So they take a lot of time, and they usually get it wrong. It's just tough to do it in one day. But this is kind of the way it is. It has a big advantage, though, is they force the trainers. You have to try everything. You have to teach them how to build databases. You have to teach them how to use SQL. You have to teach them when to use SQL. When you use SQL, when you use code, they have to make all of these decisions kind of in real time. And you know that it's impossible going in.
yeah.
But over time, like in 3 years, some people will get pretty good. And, when they go to college, doing IT and that kind of stuff, it's just not a problem. It's not a problem.
I've kind of had like this weird thing with the going back and forth on the SQL thing, because I guess to be perfectly honest, I know how to do a lot of SQL manually, and I think it's a really important skill to do it. Though I guess to be perfectly honest, on the other side of the coin, these days I almost rarely do it unless something has gone wrong. Like usually when I'm doing SQL these days, because something has gone wrong and we're in panic mode at that point.
If you're in a big operation, for instance, like at AT&T, you have a guy over here who you can go over and say, I need SQL to do this. You don't do any SQL. Right?
But even
do some magic for me.
I guess one of the things that one of the things that almost becomes more important than SQL is like managing database changes, because that's for some reason that's something that I haven't really seen.
That's a pro job.
Yeah, it's not hard to do. It's just that you kind of have to understand how it works. There is this thing where it's like, if you have a production site, you're going to have at least at least a couple different instances of the database. You're going to have one for testing, and you're going to have one for testing, and you're going to have one for production. If you're being careful, you're going to have one for staging too.
Yeah, you have one for development.
Yeah, and it's having some sort of system to carry changes forward from one to the other becomes really important, because otherwise you have to do it manually, in which case you make mistakes.
And usually you have people do that. For instance, this is my number. For for every, let's say, 100 developers, you need 2 or 3 database people. I mean, people who are just expert to do nothing but database.
Someone to babysit the database, which is pretty.
Usually, there's a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done there, and they also do maintenance stuff. Like when you have things that go wrong and the database related, they know how to tune databases. The average developer is just not that good, you know, at the data function, especially when you have critical
Every
databases.
developer, you don't want touching the database at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not in a production environment.
Even
Well,
as
it depends on how your
developers,
setup is. Like again, it's size of setup.
We need to
okay, I'm done.
sort of
Okay.
wrap up.
Okay, Jim.
Wondering too.
Amazingly, I took on Jim's role.
I have one question before we leave.
Okay.
Has anybody used a sound card with a Raspberry Pi?
Yes,
Not yet.
I have.
That sounded kind of tentatively. I don't know if anybody else got that flavor or not.
I'm wondering why you want to do that.
Why?
Yeah.
Well,
All kinds of applications where you would want to process sound.
yeah, and the reason behind my hesitation was it wasn't as straightforward to set up as it should have been. But I found little USB sound cards,
Yeah,
and
I just bought one, and I was wondering if anybody had specific experience with it.
eventually I found the right documentation online. I can send it to Jim. I could try to find my links and send it to Jim to send to you. But I wanted to, I just randomly find stuff, and Frank's into the Internet of Things, and this was pretty cheap for $23. It's on Kickstarter.
It may be available somewhere.
I've not really ever had a problem. I've waited for stuff for a long time.
So what is that?
It's a little ESP8266 with USB headers and more memory. And it's got, it's got accelerometers and some other stuff on it.
And how much does it cost?
$4,535.
I backed it for like $20 plus like $3 shipping or something.
Okay, so it should cost like $10, right?
Actually, I think I sat down, I think that's the one that I sat down and I figured out what all the parts would have cost. And I could have gotten all the parts for maybe $3 less than what he's doing. And it's all in one package.
So why is he doing this?
I don't know. But I kind of, that's why I backed it though, is because I kind of thought, well.
He's got $4,000 out there.
3 days left.
Last year, I went to start a project.